Hello everyone, and now welcome to a game. This game is going to be an all the random game between, well, Starbuck and Moon. Alright, let's take a look. Well, Starbuck getting blue Night Elf on the bottom left hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Moon getting yellow Night Elf on the top right hand side of Warhill. Should be a great game. Always difficult to try and predict what strategies players are going to do as they are introducing them and making them up on the fly. Heroes, obviously a major part of WarCraft 3. The type of hero that you get, whether they are ranged, whether they are melee, whether they are strength based or agility based, all of those things matter in terms of the army and the composition of units you want to place around them. We often come across some strange heroes. We often see dual heroes, say double Dark Ranger or something to that effect, where you couldn't actually happen in the same game. I will say double Dark Ranger is actually a little bit scary because once one Dark Ranger gets to level 6, the other usually isn't very far behind, and essentially you're just trading mana potions for units. And well, if there is also if you try to go wide against them, well, those black arrows end up coming back to haunt you, as well as they have a army of dark minions as well. Anyways, let's go ahead and break things down here. Archer going to get trained up. We're looking at this Elder Jungle Stalker Creep Camp here. We are training up at the Altar of Elders. Meanwhile, Wisps are gonna, well, give each other a little kiss in the middle portion of the map. I guess that's the equivalent of boxers touching gloves, Wisps giving a little touch in the center of the map there as they pass through each other, and this game is getting underway. All right. Double Wisp, well, repair on this Ancient of War, waiting for a second Archer. There is a little bit of arrows flying here. The second Archer getting trained is going to be important as we see a Death Knight now out here onto the battlefield. All right, Ancient of War, what's going to happen here is going to try and tank some of that damage. No, it's going to go straight after a tree first after it's tanking damage. Didn't even really need to get in an attack. Death Knight with Death Coil killing there. Meanwhile, it is going to be a Mountain King coming in from Starbuck. So Starbuck, Mountain King first. Stormbolts are going to be incredibly important as well. You can see that this Mountain King is looking to clear out this Forest Troll High Priest. And now, come to think of it, it does make a lot of sense why both of these players opted to go for creeping than rather try and get any harassment. Usually harassment, oh, Wisp no longer being able to repair, it gets ensnared right there, so not able to easily repair there. Well, the Wisp still trying to repair back once more. Meanwhile, Death Knight does get to level 2, and well, the archers are going to finish off this Forest Troll Trapper here. Now, as I was saying earlier, normally sometimes heroes, you could go for like a solo hero to try and go for harassment and a fast tech to tier 2, but in a game like this, you can't guarantee that. You cannot guarantee that you would actually get, say, a good hero or a hero that is useful. Oh, there's a detonation. Nicely done by Moon. Moon's seen that done so many times where, well, the Death Knight gets a single attack and then about to get a Death Coil. Oh! And Starbuck returns the favor once right there. That's actually a bit cute. Starbuck saying, you know what, I'm not going to detonate this time. I'm actually going to build a Moonwell. Your Death Coil does nothing. The Death Coil does nothing to the Moonwell as the Mountain King now cleans up that Storm Reaver Apprentice. Hope you guys like that little bit of like head faking play right there. We rarely get to see two examples of that right in the very beginning of the game. So Starbuck and Moon with some early micro as the battle hasn't gotten too crazy as of yet. Mountain King has opted to go for Bash over the Thunderclap here, and we're going to look at this Forest Troll Berserker. Maybe a Stormbolt onto the Forest Troll Shadow Priest is in order, as that Forest Troll Shadow Priest was getting, well, quite a bit of heals across those units there. Meanwhile, Huntress is now joining in on the battle. You're going to see that little bit of that glaive bounce as well, and a little bit of bouncing damage once more. The Huntresses adding more right there. Huntress is 600 hit points, fairly powerful, going to go in and shut things down. Mountain King retreats back home, gets a little bit of Moonwell juice, makes his way off to the north, sitting at level 3. Meanwhile, Starbuck, meanwhile, Death Knight, all right, a Void Walker. Remember, mercenary camps are also all the random, so you just try and hire up a mercenary and kind of see what you get. Void Walker, pretty powerful, 23 to 27 damage, a couple of spells as well. As you can see, it did use a little bit of that mana, and has, well, average attack speed. All right, so decent attack speed, decent damage. Units are now going to be wandering around here as we are looking at Starbuck setting up an expansion at the 9 o'clock spot. All the random WarCraft 3 going to have a lot of fun with all of this here, as the Mountain King should be able to Stormbolt down a unit or two. Now, this is going to be one of those strange situations where does Starbuck know that the Void Walker has medium armor, and it should be really trying to focus. Oh, who could have gotten the last hit there? Gloves of Haste picked up by the Death Knight. Ring of the Arch Magi. There's a Sentinel Scout. The archers could try and, the Huntresses can easily go after those archers. Those archers do have medium armor. There's a Staff of Preservation already, and wow, nicely, easily done. Oh. Wow. That was some next level play. I need a I wish there was a rewind here. So the Death Knight, knowing that there was a Creepjack by Starbuck and that there was a Sentinel Scout, had moved the entire Night Elf army off to the side. Before using the Scroll of Town Portal, used the Staff of Preservation on the Void Walker, knowing that the Void Walker would be the only unit that couldn't Shadow Meld. All the archers Shadow Meld. The Death Knight's, Scroll of Town Portal actually kept him alive since he was invulnerable, and that was the reason for the easy retreat right there. Are we going to see a Stormbolt go down onto any unit? Staff of Preservation? Yep. Yeah, Moon pretty much saving the Staff of Preservation, as we now see the Glaives are on the line for the Huntress. A little bit of an interesting thing to note, though. Now that the Glaives have that little bit of illumination trail, and you can actually see which way the units are running. I don't know if that's deliberate or not, but that could come into play as we see an Impale go down. All right, Dryads are in position. We are looking at heavy armor against a bunch of piercing units, as the Mountain King could be in a world of hurt right now, being forced to retreat back. Are we going to see another Impale? That is the question right there. We can see a little bit more auto attacks here, and there's a little bit of damage. Are we going to see another Stormbolt go back the other way? Glaives, Huntresses trying to get in some damage. There you are. There's a little bit of bounce damage. There goes one archer, and we're going to be looking at another archer getting taken down. Remember, that bounce glaive does do bonus damage, as we see another Impale go down here. All right, Mountain King could be in trouble. Is he going to try and engage here? There's a Stormbolt onto the Void Walker, and this is exactly what we were talking about earlier. Just trying to Death Coil, finding the Kobold Taskmaster in the back. No more damage bonus, but, well, a surround onto the Death Knight, or excuse me, onto the Crypt Lord. All right, trying to break free here. There's a Death Coil for the save. Another archer, oh, almost getting taken down. There's the Glaive bounce. Mountain King having, well, perhaps another Stormbolt in the... another Stormbolt here. Are we going to go after the Void Walker instead? Yes, Void Walker now going to get taken down. There goes the other. Starbuck using the Scroll of Town Portal now to tactically retreat, and that was a great use of that medium, the glaive, the normal damage against all of that medium armor, while being fairly protected from all of that piercing with that upgrade from unarmored to that armor type. That is a classic, or I guess that will be one of those classic timing attacks in Night Elf versus Night Elf. But yeah, finding or getting that Void Walker a little bit of a bonus once more. Now, we are looking at a level 4 Mountain King. We still don't have a second hero. We do have a Tree of Ages. And, well, is there a way to get that Mountain King, or to ensure a Blood Mage, or get some mana? That is going to be the problem here, as we're looking at the Death Knight sitting at level 3, Crypt Lord sitting at level 2, and the Crypt Lord also has a Wand of Mana Stealing. That's going to be incredibly important. Being able to steal 120 mana, essentially 1.5 Stormbolts about, and stealing Stormbolts from that Mountain King may be, or could be, very, very important. All right, we're looking at a little bit of a run by here. The Huntress trying to escape away. We're going to be seeing a little bit of damage. That Huntress is going to be able to sacrifice itself. No, it is not. Giving level 4 to the Death Knight right there. There was a Staff of Preservation to save a Dryad, as that Dryad hangs on. Now, Remember, Starbuck does have this expansion, and it was able to set it up before Moon. There is about a 1 or 600 gold difference, so that is really what Starbuck is trying to bank on, trying to hope that this economic advantage, that extra additional gold, will give him a larger army before Moon sets up his own base here. All right, we are already in low upkeep. There's about an 800 difference as we see a Black Drake now taking to the skies. All right, Black Drake, one of the important things to note about a Black Drake is it does have heavy armor. It doesn't have piercing, so that's one of those things where the Dryads are not going to be able to do nearly as much. All right, there goes down one. There goes an Impale. More damage. We are looking at a Skeletal Orc Grunt also coming across. Are we going to be looking at some Storm Bolts? That is the question here. Perhaps there's a Death Coil for the save. Tome of Strength. And now who's going to get that? Oh, Huntress trying to get in front. Are we going to see a Stormbolt onto this Crypt Lord? No, we are not. Tome of Strength being left behind there. Mountain King perhaps could benefit a little bit more. Is he going to pick it up in this fight? Yes, does pick it up there. So taking the time to read a book amongst a battle here as we're looking at more battling coming through. Death Knight did have Cloak of Shadows hiding on the other side. Where is that Black Drake? Was it taken down already? All right, no. Oh, getting a Black Drake and a Green Drake. So they and also getting that command aura. So all of these units being hired straight from that mercenary camp, that is going to be huge as they are dealing dealing bonus damage both from the command aura and also from the True Shot aura once that Mountain King shows up. This could be a big deal here. Kobold Taskmaster has to be careful though. He's going to have a giant target on his back, and you can see not long for this world. He's just already joining in on this fight here. No easy way to heal. Not quite sure why Moon isn't trying to target that one unit as we're looking at battles going down. Remember, the Drakes actually deal piercing damage, so that is going to deal poison damage or additional bonus damage against all of these Dryads here. Mountain King still joining in on the battle here, continuing the fight. Are we going to see a Stormbolt fighting in the sea of Moonwells? Generally not a good idea as the Crypt Lord gets to level 3. All right, there goes the Impale. A bunch of units trying to hide in the back there. There's a Death Coil. Staff of Preservation for the save. Death Knight now could be in a little bit of trouble. Invul Potion now being used, but so many units getting focused down here as the Green Drake is just microing extremely well. Mountain King low on mana. Wanda mana stealing completely. All the charges are now used up, and you can see that those Drakes are just targeting so extremely well against all of those units. Mountain King perhaps going to try and hang back here a little bit more damage. There's a little bit more, Death Knight now has plenty of mana, should be able to Death Coil off. Are we going to see the Kobold Taskmaster try to get away? Down to 66 hit points. That's slow poison, and it's going to get taken down. All right, Black Drake ready for more action. Shows back up onto the battlefield. We're going to be looking at some more units trying to retreat back here. Mountain King low on mana. Well, down to 73. Are we going to see a little bit more here? Are we perhaps going to see a Stormbolt? All right, rushing in a little bit too far. There's a little bit of damage. Stormbolt onto the Death Knight. Death Knight now going to be trapped into a corner. Harpy now joining in on the fight as well. The Harpy, remember, now has chaos damage. So the Harpy able to do quite a bit as well. So a Harpy Queen. So taking all of those mercenaries. Now, behind this, though, Moon is mining off of that second base now. He has a decent amount of gold pulled from there, only 1,000 gold difference, and Moon was purposely staying in no upkeep for quite some time. Now, a downfall for Starbuck could be the fact he's still only running on one hero. Remember, there is that hero level or hero experience bonus when you have a solo hero and when you're at tier 2 and at tier 3, 15% bonus for each tier. But as the game gets further on, having one level 6 hero is not necessarily better than having 2 level 5 heroes. Those additional abilities making such a big difference there as we see a Salamander Visor? Salamander Visor? Visor? Vizier? Vizier I always thought was like a wizard, right? So a Salamander Wizard? Yeah, I don't even know what the spells are on this guy here, but, Starbuck, I'm showcasing a whole bunch of different units here. Too bad there's no way I could actually see the spell list when I'm actually clicking on these. You gotta forgive me for not knowing every single creep in a game of WarCraft 3. There are tons and tons and tons. All right, Moon's Wisp here easily going to get taken down. There was a detonation. Perhaps more will get hired up here. You can see Starbuck still has one unit off over there, and we're going to see perhaps a little bit of a pincer play. All right, in comes the engagement. Death Coil straight up onto a Green Drake already. Green Drake in a lot of trouble, maybe forced to back up here. We Stormbolt onto the Death Knight. Are we going to see, well, was that a Devour? No Devour. It's just trying to do some damage. It does have a decent range. There's a mana burn. Staff with, Staff of Preservation for a save. We're looking at some Dryads getting taken down. Low hit point Green Drake down to 169 hit points, trying to retreat back away. Death Coil finds the Crypt Lord, and the Crypt Lord able to survive a little while longer. Dryads of Starbuck getting taken down. Harpies. The Harpy Queen, well, is attacking the ground. Does have heavy armor. It is dealing piercing, or chaos damage, so it is dealing full damage to everything. And that is going to be important as well. The Salamander Wizard gets taken down. There's a dual level up there. Mountain King gets up to level 6. Is he going to try and Stormbolt a little bit more? That is the question. 62 supply compared to 61. Both sides still fighting. Death Knight. Ooh, Staff of Preservation for the save. Stormbolt onto the Death Knight. Death Knight now down to 305 hit points. Is he going to try to back away? Yes, it is. Units are retreating back as well. Mountain King does have enough for another Stormbolt, as the Skeletal Orc Grunt could get taken down. Death Knight already back up to 800 hit points after being dangerously low for a quick second. There's a Stormbolt. Hunter is now going to join in on the battle as we see another Kobold Taskmaster back out here onto the battlefield. All right, how many Kobold Taskmasters can Starbuck hire up in a game? I do not know. Staff of Preservation, Mountain King in trouble, down to 72 hit points. It is trying to run away, 67, and it looks like it will be able to retreat back here. What is going on here? Mountain King shows back up to the party. Why? Oh, Avatar. All right, so it's come back in. It's in Avatar mode. It is trying to engage. Moon brings in a Sea Giant Behemoth. Down goes the Death Knight, and that little bit of bonus hit points making all the difference here as we're looking at more and more units getting taken down. All right, Kobold Taskmaster trying to get taken away. Mountain King sitting at level 7, level 5 now on the Crypt Lord. Units still engaging here. Avatar down to 394 hit points. Is it going to be able to back away from here? That's going to be a tough spot to be in. It has nowhere to go. 115, 113 hit points. Is going to be able to get away down to 35, 31, 16. It gets taken out as well. But at what cost? So many other units lost. 49 supply compared to 38. Moon winning the supply advantage right now. Are we going to see a resurrection at the tavern, or are we well, it does cost quite a bit to resurrect a Mountain King at the tavern. Staff of Preservation brings him straight back home. Moonwells are very dry. Never got the increased Moonwell upgrade on either side. So, wow, that may be a big deal indeed. Not having the Moonspring upgrade means that, well, all of these units could have had, or all of those Moonwells could have had at least 100 mana more. Heavy range unit that hurls fiery missiles. Thank you, thank you. All right, Tome of Strength left behind again. That Mountain King. Well, there goes a Wisp again. Mountain King Clarity Potion up to nearly 1100 hit points, up to nearly 300 mana with that Clarity Potion. Should be able to get there. We're looking at more Wisps getting taken out again. And still no clear victor. All right, the Sea Giant Behemoth, a level 8 creep. We are looking at the Green Drakes. So many Drakes. Stormbolt onto the Sea Giant Behemoth. Oh, the Sea Giant Behemoth taking a lot of damage. Is it going to get taken out quickly? Yes, it will. Mountain King sitting at level 7. Perhaps going to try and Stormbolt and get some more damage across all of these other units. Units trying to retreat back here. No staff. Oh, there's that Staff of Preservation. Thought Starbuck was going to be a bit late, but able to get the job done. Invul Potion on the Mountain King, trying to outrun a Death Knight who also has Unholy Aura. But the Death Knight does not want to get too far away from his own army, as we see a Harpy has now joined the army of Moon. As the Mountain King resets himself. Obviously, at this stage in the game, it would be a bit of a suicide to trying to train up a second hero. Level 3 Impale, level 3 Impale and level 3 Death Knight already on the table would spell big problems. Green Drake, well, trying to get a little bit of separation here. That is a lot of Dryads on the ground here. That is a lot of well, unarmored units, and I don't see any well, the Black Drakes may be able to get the job done. The Black and Green Drakes may be able to get the job done. The Dryads, well, 500 range compared to the Drakes, I believe. Well, 500 here. There's a Stormbolt, and well, another Drake now taking to the skies, but this one is for Moon, and the wings or the little highlights are yellow instead of blue. I'm trying to keep track of things. There's a Stormbolt onto the Crypt Lord, and now trying to retreat back again. Oh, Starbuck had played such a strong mid-game, but now it feels like Moon is starting to pull away. Starbuck does have 1,000 gold in the bank, and he's trying to find ways to spend his gold. Oh, this Dryad, just feeding experience. That's not what you want to be doing at this point, at this stage in the game. More mercenaries perhaps still can get hired up. There's an Ancient Wendigo, 61 to 68 chaos damage. Melee fast. Meanwhile, back off to the north here. Well, still more creeping. I guess creeping just to get strong items and get gold is still an option right now, as the Mountain King's avatar going to be coming to an end. 960 hit points now down to, well, still staying at 960. So we're going to be trying to make their way off to the north. All right, 62 supply. We're going to see a Stormbolt anywhere. Stormbolt straight up onto a Green Drake, and we're looking at some damage already. Harpies units just focusing all around. There's a quick Cyclone, and now both sides still continuing to battle it up. All right, Dire Mammoth is also in the battle here. That is a level 8 creep. We see Locust Swarm also on the line. That is going to be focusing down or allowing the slow decay of a bunch of all of the units around here, as we see the Ancient Wendigo is now back and running again. I believe it had a reincarnation and able to refight back again. Death Knight, Mountain King, Stormbolt onto the Death Knight. Death Knight could be in trouble. Dead Knight down to 42 hit points. He gets taken down. Level 8 now on the Mountain King. Staff of Preservation for the save. Mountain King still fighting here, going after all of these units. You can see Moon's army in the air is actually pretty strong right now. Meanwhile, and on the ground, 53 supply compared to 41. Both sides still fighting here. Starbuck's Ancient Wendigo looking to get in more damage. Meanwhile, the Green Drake trying to get away, down to 55 hit points. Down to 4. Oh, no, gets taken down by the creeps. All right, so taken down by the creeps. Meanwhile, Death Knight doesn't have that much mana. Potion, involve another stun. The Ancient Wendigo is just causing problems. There's a Staff of Preservation for the switch here. Mountain King unable to Stormbolt that Staff of Preservation, saving a dangerously low hit point Crypt Lord as he's able to head back home. Main gold mines nearly mined out. This is an incredibly close game. The Ancient Wendigo, well, if you didn't know it resurrected, that would have been a big deal indeed. Meanwhile, what is this Mountain King doing? Oh, gonna pick up another Ancient Wendigo. All right, 47 supply compared to 58. Moon currently getting 14 gold a second. Starbuck purposely staying in no upkeep to get every bit of gold out of that gold mine that he can, and then perhaps burst into low upkeep. As we're looking at Starbuck now sitting at 50 over 80 supply. There's another Black Drake taking to the skies right now. But Moon is just constantly going... Oh, no, that Moon took this one. All right, so 68 over 80 supply. There is a Green Drake, a Black Drake, and a Harpy. Walk into a Green Drake, a Black Drake, and a Harpy walk into a red creep camp. Sounds like the beginning of a bad WarCraft 3 joke. Jungle Stalker going to get taken down here. We're looking at a final battle here. 68 supply compared to 50. This is not looking good. Stormbolt finding the Death Knight. Death Knight is going to get a bash here. Oh, taking a little bit of damage. Going to try and perhaps retreat back, or maybe just constantly Stormbolt. If he can Stormbolt that Death Knight to, well, death, but just constantly pressure his hit points, that could be enough. All right. 67 supply compared to 50. Still trying to mine every bit of gold out of that gold mine. Perhaps hire up some more mercenaries when the time is right. Mountain King's mana, also a very important factor in these fights right now. As a Beastmaster joins in on the battle. I don't know about this. Beastmaster a little bit late to the party. Are we going to see a little bit of an engagement here? Jungle Stalker, a little bit of creeping coming down. Meanwhile, Mountain King still in the middle portion of the map, trying to perhaps cause some separation. Have Moon and not know where the rest of the army is. But Moon perhaps has a spider sense and sees something going on here. And, well, is going to catch this. Well, catch this. All right, Beastmaster out here on the battlefield pretty much by himself. Needs to figure out how to engage all of these Wendigos, even with their stomp, not going to be able to do much. There's a Death Coil taking down one of the Wendigos. Is he going to come back up? Does he come back up? No, it doesn't look like it. Maybe it's a one-time thing. Yeah, Ankh, this guy is gonna come back up, and that is gonna be the game. Moon able to outlast, as he did go for 2 heroes and got both of them to level 6. Getting multiple heroes to level 6 or level 5, stronger than that level 6 hero, as I mentioned earlier. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below. Did Starbuck have the advantage but Moon able to come back, or did I misread the entire game? Let me know in the comments.